morning. It is Tuesday, November 27th. It's pretty brisk here in Middle Tennessee. I don't even think it's got to 30 degrees. And I just made a stop to pick up some things for work. It was spitting snow. And I know some of you just a little north of here are experiencing a good deal of snow. So hopefully everybody's staying warm. Today, I want to address, I'm going to use one of our online Team Ogre guys, Harry. Harry's been struggling a little bit of late, and I don't have quite all the one disadvantage of not being in person with somebody or with someone is you don't always see some of the tendencies, especially the mental, emotional tendencies associated with lifting, and that's actually pretty vital. And I'm only offered one, sometimes two angles of a lift. So it's exceedingly different when you're handing off or you're in a position where you're not spotting or handing off and you're watching the lifter. So I'm going to say that on the front, that we're probably not seeing everything that's going on. Where the struggle really seems to be right now is because the deadlift and the squat seem to be coming around. Now let me rewind a little bit. Harry this year has hit some big PRs and benched no handoff out of he's got those rogue hooks, benched with a pause 400 pounds. And since that time, as we were building back up for a meet, we got to a certain point, and I'm not exactly sure. I'm speculating, because here's what I see. This is what I do know. Yesterday, he messaged me. He was supposed to do 345 for 3 sets of 3, I believe it was. And he was supposed to do it the week before, but basically was getting 1 rep and then was missing the 2nd rep. So for the last 2 weeks, 345 has been too much for one reason or the other. We go back one more week, 335 was the weight that he completed. So we added 10 pounds, and for 2 weeks, it's a no-go, even to get one full set complete. What I am seeing, there is a lack of aggression. Now that's a really broad term, and I saw in Harry's post where he put coach's notes. Keep in mind, many times when Harry is messaging me, I have a gym full of people, so I can't always respond just as quick as I would like to. So last night I watched the video again because I wanted to review, and I sent him an email. So let's talk about the aggression. One of the things that happens, and this happens with a lot of lifters, is your starting tempo when you start at the top of the bench and you load to the touch you're not finishing to the touch point with the same tempo that you started with. You're putting on the brakes. And that's when I say that's what I mean is you get to a certain point and you really slow down. So all of the energy that you're creating and the tension that you're creating when you're loading, once you put the brakes on, it dissipates really quickly. And you have a tendency then at that point is it touches, you loosen up, the shoulder girdle changes, the head raises a little bit, and Harry has a problem with his head. And many others do too. I'm not picking on him. I'm trying to help him, and by doing so, some of you that may have the same problem, where you can alleviate this issue and create a solution. What is happening is it looks like he's searching for the touch point. He's feeling the weight. He's waiting for the weight to be heavy. And some of the simple things are really emotional and mental, is when you treat the weight heavy, it tends to respond that way. Weight is intuitive. It isn't intuitive. It's just weight. So when you slow down, you kill your momentum. And then when he goes to press, he's not being dynamic. He's not punching the weight. He's feeling the weight as if he's waiting for it to be heavy. And that kills all the momentum. Because he's struggled, you got to understand, being successful is a habit. You create ways. You don't search and find them. That's not how it works. You don't find your groove in lifting. You create it. You feel your way. You know that when you touch correctly, when you load correctly, and you're explosive, how the weight is going to go. And if you watch Harry prior to this training cycle, you saw a lot of successful lifts. You saw a lot of PRs, hit during the training cycle. So this is why I encourage everybody, not only so you can send video to me, but you have a video log, have a YouTube channel, or a place that you can save video, and you can go back and reference this, because you'll see where he takes the bar now, the trajectory is like he's reaching on that first rep, so he searches. And when you do that, your time under tension, as soon as you change or you hold the bar for more than a couple of seconds, you're killing yourself, especially in a situation where tempo is a priority. So what do? We have lightened the weight. We've changed some things. We have what we're going to have to do. What is really imperative is that what we've learned is by slowing down, by searching, by feeling the weight, we are not being successful. We're failing. So you have to really own it and be aggressive. It's got to be as straight down as possible. Punch with your elbows in the bar path correct. And then if you have to open up as you go up, you'll get away with that. If you open the shoulders up first thing, it's going to bunch back up and you're not going to have any pressing power. Then you have to be willing to get through this. It's going to be a grind. You're going to have to jam that weight and not quit. One of the things that's going on, as soon as it's hard, like I'm going to have to really go balls out, the lifter shuts it down, and in this case, that's what Harry's doing. Now, does that mean Harry is a wuss, that he's a sissy? No, but you got to understand, once you start that, once it happens a few times, it becomes habit, and it's what you will gravitate to when something gets hard. So it's clear, when you see the first rep of his sets, especially last week, it's almost shocking that he doesn't get the second rep. And again, that's a practice. So we gotta make sure we're taking the weight out where it belongs. Bar path and punch. You can't slow down and you can't search. If you touch wrong, make an adjustment either the next rep or the next set. But when you start holding and fidgeting and slowing down and doing any kind of weird movement, it's not gonna happen. So our solution will be to work on a couple of those things. I'm going to add some timed pauses where he has to hold that weight. I can do 225 for two sets of 3 with a 3 count pause, but it's so light. When you have a guy that has the capacity to bench 400, the tendency is just to loosen up, and then you just blow through it because you're confident. So we're going to have to go a little bit heavier, where the focal point becomes staying tight no matter what. Once you get to that touch point, you're static. There is no movement whatsoever. And, and start working on punching it up and then having to grind. We're going to have to grind a little bit. So hopefully this helps. We'll see how this goes over the next few weeks. I'm going to pull the weight back a little bit so we can get some good reps in and build some momentum. But we're probably not quite 85%, so he should be hitting these reps. So he's not the only one. I'm just using him as an example. I will post this a little bit later on his log, and hopefully this will create some dialogue. All right, everybody, have a good day.